Thanks for joining us on the CBN News Channel. I'm Charlene Israel. In Iran, high-profile cases of Christian pastors being arrested, imprisoned, and tortured have put the spotlight on the treatment of Christians in the Islamic Republic. Now, 2 Iranian women are telling their story of persecution. John Wagi explains.
Good afternoon, everybody.
They were raised Muslim in Iran, converted to Christianity, and studied theology together in Turkey. Merzia Amirzadeh says she had dreams and visions about Jesus.
I met Jesus in front of myself. He was standing next to a large throne which was covering with shining gold.
But in 2009, Amirzadeh and her friend Mariam Rostampour were arrested for sharing their Christian faith. They're authors of a new book called Captive in Iran, and they told their story this week at a Hudson Institute panel in Washington.
And God gave us this vision to distribute the Bible among Iranian people. And we distributed about 20,000 New Testaments in Tehran and a few other cities. And also we had 2 house churches. For one of them was for prostitutes, and the other one was for young people in our own apartment.
When Iranian authorities arrested them, they were interrogated for an entire day.
They sent us to a basement. There was a dirty and dark cell in the basement, and they threatened us to physical torture. They said that you need to give us all the information that we need, otherwise we will beat you until you vomit blood.
The women say the guards didn't physically torture them, but they were sent to Tehran's infamous Evin prison, where American pastor Saeed Abedini is now being held and sometimes tortured.
We were being interrogated by 2 interrogators, and they were trying to convince us to deny our faith, and they threatened us to executions.
The 2 women say officials threatened them with hanging at 10 different trials. After spending most of a year in prison, they were eventually released after Christians around the world publicized their case.
We believe that the first reason that we are here today and we are free is God's grace and God's will. And the second reason is support of all Christians from all around the world.
Rostampour and Amirzadeh are urging believers to write letters to Iranians imprisoned for their faith. John Wagi, CBN News.
We have an update on Iranian pastor Saeed Abedini, who's currently held in Evin prison. The American Center for Law and Justice reports that prison authorities are denying him medical treatment. Months of beatings by jailers have left Saeed with internal bleeding. A few weeks ago, Iranian authorities promised the pastor that he would receive medical attention. He was taken to a hospital, but the ACLJ says he was returned to prison without receiving any treatment. They say the pastor's health is deteriorating. And for more on this story and what you can do to help Pastor Saeed, you can go to our website at cbnnews.com. We're learning more about that North Korea missile that has South Korea and its allies in the region on high alert. The Musadan is new, never tested, and it's said to be gassed up and ready to fly. The missile reportedly has a range that could reach U.S. bases in Guam or Okinawa more than 2,000 miles away. The U.S. has deployed a flotilla off the coast, including radar ships capable of early launch detection. Japan has positioned Patriot missiles around Tokyo, and South Korea is at its highest state of alert, short of war. Protecting America's borders through increased surveillance and tighter security will be the centerpiece of landmark immigration reform. A bipartisan group of senators reached that agreement on Wednesday as thousands of illegal immigrants rallied nationwide. Gary Lane has more.
Illegal immigration is personal for Arizona rancher Jim Chilton.
I live in no man's land. I have to protect myself.
Chilton regularly patrols his property along 5 miles of the U.S.-Mexico border.
The border is not secure.
So as Chilton and some of his ranch hands go about their daily business rounding up cattle, robotic motion sensor cameras monitor his property. He and his neighbors have videotaped hundreds of illegals crossing the border onto their land. Supporters of immigration reform say that's why it's so important that legislation include tighter border security and surveillance. A proposed agreement finalized by senators Wednesday would call for surveillance of the entire 2,000-mile U.S.-Mexico border and the apprehension of 90% of those crossing in designated high-risk areas. Those already in the U.S. illegally would be given green cards within 10 years, but only after the implementation of the Southern Border Security Plan. Employers would also be required to adopt mandatory electronic verification of their workers' legal status, and a new electronic exit system will be put in place at airports and seaports. Tens of thousands of immigration reform advocates, some of them in the U.S. illegally, attended rallies throughout the U.S. Wednesday. Many took their cause to the nation's capital, voicing support for President Obama's deferred deportation program and fast-track citizenship. Meanwhile, 2,000 miles away in Arizona, ranchers like Jim Chilton suggest their priority is protecting the homeland, their homes, lives, and property. Gary Lane, CBN News.
President Obama has submitted his 2014 budget to Congress, but it's more than 2 months late. Now, some lawmakers are having a hard time thinking about spending more taxpayers' dollars when so much is already being wasted. White House correspondent Jennifer Wishon explains.
The president's political allies and enemies now have something in common. They're not fans of his 2014 budget. White House officials say it's proof of Mr. Obama's willingness to compromise with Congress.
And I don't believe that all these ideas are optimal, but I'm willing to accept them as part of a compromise, if and only if they contain protections for the most vulnerable Americans.
The president's spending plan pushes money into projects like building roads and bridges, scientific research, and education. The White House says the budget also cuts the deficit by nearly $2 trillion over the next 10 years.
But if we're serious about deficit reduction, then these reforms have to go hand in hand with reforming our tax code to make it more simple and more fair so that the wealthiest individuals and biggest corporations cannot keep taking advantage of loopholes and deductions that most Americans don't get.
To entice Republicans to consider raising taxes on top earners, the president's budget includes cuts to entitlement spending on Medicare.
When it comes to deficit reduction, I've already met Republicans more than halfway, so in the coming days and weeks, I hope that Republicans will come forward and demonstrate that they're really as serious about the deficits and debt as they claim to be.
For some lawmakers, it's hard to take any spending plan and certainly tax increases seriously when so many tax dollars, tens of billions of them, are being wasted on bureaucratic inefficiencies. For example, on Medicaid alone, the government wastes billions of dollars a year by simply paying too much for services. And since 2002, the Department of Defense has gone from having 2 camouflage uniforms to 7. That costs tens of millions more and also makes it more difficult for service members to identify one another in combat. It's one of dozens of recommendations offered by the Government Accountability Office to cut back government waste. Another example, the office found that last year there were 700 government initiatives to do the same thing, promote renewable energy.
The hardworking American taxpayers have a hard enough time paying for something once, but paying for it twice is really a problem.
But until Congress and the president act to cut that waste, taxpayers will keep right on paying for it. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
The Senate begins debate on gun control today after 2 conservative senators reached an agreement on expanding background checks. Democrat Joe Manchin and Republican Pat Toomey announced a bipartisan deal to include checks at gun shows and online sales. It aims to keep firearms from criminals and the mentally ill. The deal came after relatives of the victims from Newtown, Connecticut pleaded with lawmakers to find common ground and act.
We asked them to think about if they lost their sister, their brother, their son or daughter, their mother this way, would they still feel the same way? I think that makes them think, something has to get done.
The common ground rests on a simple proposition, and that is that criminals and the dangerously mentally ill shouldn't have guns.
The National Rifle Association responded to the deal, saying expanding background checks at gun shows will not prevent the next shooting, will not solve violent crime, and will not keep our kids safe in school. A Washington florist is being sued by the state's attorney general for refusing to provide flowers for a gay wedding. Veronelle Stutzman owns Arlene's Flowers in Richland. She objected to selling a gay customer flowers for a same-sex wedding because of her Christian faith. Washington State Attorney General Bob Ferguson filed a consumer protection suit against Stutzman. He argues she discriminated against the customer based on his sexual orientation. Stutzman's attorney says the case is not about discrimination, but freedom of speech and religion. Coming up, a movie about two men. One was black and the other was white, and how they changed the face of America and baseball. Right after.
Today we're on a field trip to discover what inflation is doing to our paper money. In this hand is a $20 bill, and in this hand is a $20 US gold coin. They used to have the same buying power, but how much can they buy today? In this first basket is what my $20 bill buys: milk, bread, peanut butter, and jelly. And here's what one $20 gold coin will buy: 6 baskets full, worth nearly $2,000, almost 100 times more food, simply by owning gold dollars instead of paper dollars. History shows that the gold coins have been the best way to beat the rising cost of living. So class, the moral is that unless you want to live on peanut butter and jelly sandwiches in the future, you should turn some paper dollars into gold coins now. How and why is explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. Call the number below for a totally free copy. And that's the simple truth.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
Help!
And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
From CBN.
Broken Eardrum is playing at the Civic tonight.
And you'll just have to miss it.
This is so incredibly unfair.
A special story of love and sacrifice.
Joy, Mom comes up with something.
Christopher Quantum, you and I are going to discuss your attitude right this minute. Superbook.
No.
Join the Superbook DVD Club and get Superbook's newest episode, He is Risen. Plus 2 copies to share with others. All for your gift of $25.
They have arrested Jesus, the Messiah. Do you not know that I have the power to crucify you?
No! Please! You can't!
They've taken him to Golgotha. We must hurry.
Mary is about to lose her son. The worst thing any mother could face. I am not leaving her.
Superbook. It's an amazing way to build a strong spiritual foundation in the children you love.
Mary, who are you looking for?
I've seen him! He is alive!
Superbook. He is Risen. Available now.
Hero is a word we often hear about in sports, but heroism isn't always about the achievement on the field. A new movie tells the story of 2 men whose courage helped change America. 42 is about the great Jackie Robinson, the man who broke the color barrier in baseball, and Branch Rickey, the man who chose Robinson to pave the way for blacks to play in the major leagues.
Hey, you're looking for your locker, aren't you, son?
42 follows baseball's Jackie Robinson as he plays for the Brooklyn Dodgers. The film highlighting Robinson's struggles as well as his triumphs as he plays for the team in the late 1940s. Facing blatant racism from every side, even from his own teammates, Robinson's life demonstrated tremendous courage and restraint. Chadwick Boseman plays the role of Jackie Robinson.
Real Mrs. Robinson asked you, who are you and why do you want to play my husband? What was your response to that?
The response is that he's your hero. You know, he's one of the people that we stand on his shoulders. He's walked the road that you know you should want to walk. He's courageous. He's everything that you want to play when you're an actor. That's all I could say, and I told her that I would do my best and put my all into this.
The film shows segregation's impact on the game and people, white and black.
We win if the world is convinced of two things: that you are a fine gentleman and a great baseball player.
Oscar-nominated movie star Harrison Ford plays Brooklyn Dodgers boss Branch Rickey. Rickey's brave stand against racial prejudice helped change the world by changing the game of baseball. He put himself at the forefront of history in 1947 when he signed Robinson to his team, breaking the Major League's infamous color line. You say you were fascinated by this character. What was it about him that really just grabbed you?
I understood his relationship with Jackie Robinson. I read a very well-written script, which gave me the opportunity to understand, it gave me context for an understanding of the character. But the emotional relationship I felt to him was very strong as well, and both of those things are important to me.
42 also showcases the inspirational love story between Jackie Robinson and his wife Rachel. Their strong bond allowed them to respond to hatred with decency and faith.
God built me to last. When I spoke with Rachel Robinson, the first thing that I really realized is that they did this together. This was not just him, you know. It sounds cliche. Behind every great man is a great woman, or greater woman. But in this case, you know, it's true that it was a unit.
The film is filled with both good and painful memories from America's history and offers teachable moments for people of all ages.
I think it's just a terrific movie and an important movie for people to see, young people especially, who are unaware of the details of our history and how important this moment in baseball was to the civil rights movement, which was a lot closer in time because of the efforts of Jackie Robinson and Branch Rickey in baseball.
42 is rated PG-13. It opens in theaters this weekend.
This is a movie you definitely want to go see. I saw it while in Los Angeles. Absolutely amazing, and we all gave it a thumbs up. So go see it. Coming up, it's tax time again, and we have some tips to help you file with less frustration and end up with more money. Expert Dan Pilla shares his advice.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
You're watching CBN News Channel. Available on the web 24/7 at cbnnewschannel.com.
The IRS believes it has the right to read your email. Documents obtained by the ACLU show the tax agency interprets its authority very broadly when it comes to looking through your inbox. According to the Huffington Post, the agency believes it does not need a warrant to read email that have been stored on a server such as Google Mail for months at a time. The IRS Criminal Tax Division's search warrant handbook says the Fourth Amendment does not protect communications held in electronic storage, such as email messages stored on a server, because Internet users do not have a reasonable expectation of privacy. Well, if you haven't filed your taxes yet, this weekend is your last chance. Tax day is Monday, April 15th, and that's just 4 days away. More than 25 million taxpayers could face IRS audits, assessments, or worse. But what if you knew a few foolproof steps to get rid of those fears? Tax expert Dan Pilla has some answers that may help anyone.
As Americans scramble to file before the tax deadline, millions will inevitably pay untold billions of dollars to the government. Surprisingly, money that many may not even owe. Tax expert Daniel Pilla says the federal government often looks to the Internal Revenue Service as a first line of attack in balancing the budget. With all the forms and deductions, it can be overwhelming for the average American to file without an accounting degree. Charitable contributions, small business claims, and unusual medical expenses are just some of the deduction options that can save you money, but can also attract unwanted attention from the federal government. That's why Pilla wrote The IRS Problem Solver. In it, the litigation consultant outlines 5 simple things to do before April 15th. Relevant steps that could save you time, money, and give you a whole lot of peace of mind.
And recently on our CBN News Watch program, Mark Martin spoke with Dan Pilla about more about getting ready for tax time.
Tax expert Dan Pilla joins us now. Now, Dan, you say there are some things that people can do to get ready for April 15th, and one is to get proper records for charitable contributions. Why is that so important?
Well, it's a big deal, Mark, because first of all, if you give a charitable contribution of $250 or more to any one charitable organization in a one-time gift, then you have to have a contemporaneous acknowledgement back from the organization in order to claim that deduction. It's not enough to just have your canceled check or your receipts. You need that acknowledgement back from the organization that has to establish what you gave, when you gave it, and whether you got anything back of value. And if you did get something back of value, you can't claim a contribution equal to what you got back. So if you don't have that documentation before you file your tax return, you can lose your deduction later on, even if you have the check.
Now, one of the things that can save you money on your tax return is to contribute to an IRA or individual retirement account before April 15th. How can that work for you? Break it down for us.
Yeah, very simply, if it's the only thing left you can do now to save money for 2012. 2012 is, a dead letter, of course, ended December 31st, naturally. Most of the times when we're talking about deductions or credits, that has to occur during the year in question. But the contribution to an existing or a new IRA can be done up until April 15th of 2013. If you designate the payment to apply to 2012, then you get the deduction in 2012, and that can reduce your taxes. And so as an individual, you can give up to $5,000. If you've reached 50 years of age or more, you can give $6,000, and that's for both husband and wife if the wife has earned income as well. So it's an opportunity to cut your taxes, Mark, at a time when you otherwise couldn't do it.
That's right. That's right. Well, people are concerned, of course, about being audited. And you say a notarized affidavit can help audit-proof your return. Explain that to us.
Yeah, I talk about this at length in my book, The IRS Problem Solver. I talk about the audit-proofing process. And it's a process of providing information with the tax return that will answer any potential questions raised in the return itself. For example, when we're talking about charitable contributions, if you're a Christian tithing at 10%, you're giving about 3.5 times the national average of charitable gifts. And so the IRS looks at that and says, well, gee, look at how high these contributions are compared to the averages. And so what you want to do is provide information with your tax return that answers potential questions raised in the return. And what the affidavit does is it gives you an opportunity to provide an explanation beyond simple receipts, because there are some cases, Mark, in which you're not going to get a receipt for an item. For example, if you're a small business, you've got a Schedule C on your tax return, you're claiming a deduction for the space used in your home, just an example, you don't get a receipt for that. You know, the kids aren't going to give you a receipt saying Dad won't let us watch TV in his office, right? That doesn't happen. But the affidavit can explain the business purpose of that space and give you the opportunity to present that information to the IRS.
Okay. Well, one of Dan's many tax resources is the IRS Problem Solver, and you can find out more at our website at cbnnews.com. Dan Pilla, as always, thanks for being with us. Appreciate the information.
Thanks for having me, Mark. I appreciate it.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
When you're driving along and your cell phone rings, do your eyes instantly go off the road? Then you need to get a grip. Hi, David Jones here with the new GripGo, the most versatile hands-free mount that will instantly grip any phone for safe driving. Just attach the suction cup to your windshield or dash, and GripGo grabs your phone ultra fast. Then it peels right off. And don't worry, there's no sticky residue left behind. The 360-degree pivoting mount allows you to always get the perfect viewing angle. It's even strong enough to grab and hold this expensive smartphone out the window. Yet it comes right off with ease. That's the advantage of GripGo. You can get the amazing GripGo with dashboard mount for only $14.95. We'll send you a second kit free. Just pay separate processing and handling. Get 2 complete GripGo systems for just $14.95.
To order GripGo for $14.95 plus processing and handling, call 1-800-709-5259 or order online at getgripgo.com.
Jim is 38, mortgage, married, 3 great kids. He wants to protect his family with a $500,000 term life insurance policy. What do you think it'll cost him? $100 a month? 60? 40? Actually, none of the above. Jim can get a $500,000 policy from a highly rated insurer for under $19 a month. His secret? SelectQuote. SelectQuote is impartial. They'll comparison shop the pick of insurance companies like these to give you a choice of your best prices. SelectQuote has great savings on term life for women, too. Jim's wife, Deidre, can get a $500,000 policy for under $16 a month. SelectQuote has helped make term life insurance affordable for hundreds of thousands of people since 1985. How about you? Just call this number or go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote. We shop, you save.
Finally, 2 generations of one family are helping a 3rd generation in need. A New York man has his daughter and now his granddaughter to thank for saving his life. Willie West got a kidney transplant from his daughter 8 years ago. Unfortunately, now he needs another kidney. That's when West's 23-year-old granddaughter stepped up to follow in her mother's courageous footsteps.
My mother donated the kidneys, so I figured, why not? I do it. I see my mom, she's a strong woman.
Willie's granddaughter says she is excited about adding more years to her grandfather's life. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that's going to do it for now on the CBN News Channel. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. Tell us what you think about the stories you've seen today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you join us next time. Have a great day.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957. Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary, or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.